We're on. We're recording. Check, check, check.
Game on.
All right. Let's go.
Let's
you be
go.
quiet now, and let's jump into it.
Mate, I don't know how to be quiet. I'm genuinely nervous for this, and it's just me talking to you.
All right, Dust, we're going to take this as the intro. What are we doing here, dude?
Well, because we both decided that being a young adult is bloody hard. And since we're seasoned veterans by now, we're starting to hit the late 20s sort of things. We figured it'd be best if we started giving out some shit advice. Since we've been doing it for a decade.
We've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Dos said, we've been around the blocks for a number of years, and perhaps we've got some really cutting-edge, useful advice that you might want to take advantage of.
Yeah. And worst case scenario, you could just learn from our mistakes, or better yet, live out our mistakes and thank us later.
Yeah, mate, it's all been good. That's the thing. We've got to this point where we are in our lives with these experiences, and hopefully, whether we can fast track your life or perhaps give you an idea of what we would do in your situation, then we'll be sorted. So that's the point. This is the Rogue Guide. Essentially, it's an advice podcast from people with very little credible reason to give advice, but people that have lived experience in challenges and scenarios that perhaps you're going to be familiar with or are familiar with.
Yeah, we've got the war stories, so we're ready. We're ready to spill the beans on all the juicy mistakes in your 20s, and and point you in the right direction.
Oi, Dos, but who are you, and why should people care what you have to say?
Well, they probably shouldn't, if anything. I would not value my opinion in most scenarios. But I'll tell you what, if it comes to living out your best life in your 20s, then I think you should take note of like a few things I say. What am I? 26? 26? Yeah, I'm still in my prime, if anything. So, if anything, I should be taking advice from this podcast. Just, hitting my demographic there for the marketing side of things. But, anyway, so, me and Dan, we went to school together for 1 year. And from that, we decided, we might as well be friends. And as life developed, we actually became really good friends probably 3 years after we had that 1 year of school together, which was year 10, mind you, a very irrelevant year. But and now I'm living down in Melbourne, and obviously went to school in Queensland, so we've very much diversed. And Dan, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so this whole "it took us 3 years to become best friends" thing, I can't really relate to, because I fall pretty quickly, and I knew from the first time we had a real conversation about where Dos was from, where I was from, similar scenarios. I was like, oh, this guy's the homie. So this 3 years thing, I'm a little bit offended by, but I can move past it. Essentially, my name's Dan Prosser. I work in the media, do a little bit of radio, bit of everything really, as you have to do these days. I'm a little bit more settled down than young Dossel is. He is the younger member of this podcast, and you'll probably get the vibe of that as things carry on. Essentially, I'm quite into buying houses rather than traveling at the moment, although we have got our fair share of travel stories. Dos lives a little bit more decadently and luxuriously than I do, perhaps, and lives a little bit more of the rambunctious young person experience that I'm a little bit out of the zone of.
So embraces that's sort of the Rogue Guide way of life.
Yes, and I sort of embrace the "what will I do when I'm retired" way of life. So hopefully, when you're listening to us, you're getting the perspective of someone that's a bit of a degenerate, like Dos. I think that's fair and
let's not
reasonable
point fingers.
To say.
Let's let the people decide. All right.
And someone that's a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more further in life, and that'll be me. So that's the premise, and that's the Rogue Guide. Hopefully you enjoy it as much as we love recording it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to start us off with just a weekly update of each of our weeks and how we've been going on with life. And Dan, take us away.
Dos, as I am sort of the old soul of the podcast, I did have a pretty hectic moment in my life recently, actually. I fell down the stairs, which is something that you probably wouldn't expect a young person to be doing, but I definitely did. And you know what? I totally understand where people are coming from when they say that a fall down the stairs is a pretty critical thing. Awkwardly, I had two friends over, a couple who were helping me set up my automatic sprinkler system. I realized that I
What?
needed to have a shower before we headed to a party. Yeah, that's a whole story. But I had to have a shower before we headed to the party, but I'd just done the washing and all my towels were in the laundry. So I ran out of the bathroom and I was dripping wet and called out to him. I was like, "Hey, guys, I'm going to be naked running through the house. Can you please either A, not look, or B, accept that if you look, that was your own, your own choice. That's your own responsibility." So I ran through the house dripping wet towards my stairs to the laundry and I just completely lost it, slipped out of control, slid down the stairs. It was probably only two or three stairs itself. But I tell you what, I landed almost paralyzed at the bottom and I completely freaked out. My whole life, I think we're pretty active people, Dos. So I think the prospect of not being able to run or to play footy or anything like that, it's a pretty terrifying prospect. And that's the kind of paralyzation that I was going through at the time. Paralysis, perhaps, is the better word. And I was at the bottom of my stairs, not able to move for like a few seconds.
What?
Eventually, my body came to, and I got up. I could feel in my neck and my back that I'd made a serious mistake. Grabbed my towel, dried off. The couple, my friends, walked through afterwards, and I just grinned and bared it. We went off to the party that night, and I woke up the next day pretty much unable to get out of bed. I was so severely damaged. So that's a bit of an idea of the exciting hijinks I get up to. I slipped downstairs, and I was completely sober, by the way.
Hold up, hold up,
Yeah.
hold up. What did your friends do when you slipped down the stairs? Did no one come to help?
They didn't know. They didn't see, and I didn't make a noise because I was so embarrassed.
How did you not
I
make a
think
noise? Piece of
It's just one of these. It's one of the oh, and they were sort of outside, so they had no idea. But I told them like a week and a bit later. I was like, yeah, I couldn't move my neck. I was getting constant spasms and stuff like that. I was in really bad shape, and that's the most exciting thing that's happened to me recently, dude. So I mean, let's see if you can top it.
Well, no, I can't. I was completely unprepared that you were going to be pulling out this shit.
Man, I was nearly legit. Oh man, my whole life flashed before my eyes. I'm telling you, it was terrible.
Oh, just so everyone knows, this is the last time Pross is going to top me for a story, all right? So my update's a lot less exciting. Mind you, it's not necessarily my fault. It's we're in lockdown at the moment in Melbourne, so we're very well restricted in what we can do. So I don't even think I'm allowed to go down my stairs at the moment, so I'm pretty safe. I definitely am not allowed to have two people over. Like, Jesus, Mr. Popular, mate.
Man, I'm living out your normal life because I'm just for reference. Dos is in Melbourne. I'm in the outback. I'm in Longreach. So we came close to a lockdown this week, but it's all been cleared up, and there's still 0 cases ever in the outback Queensland. So we'd be having people over all the time. But anyway, so
mate,
Dos, you sound like you're bracing for a really good story, though. Dude.
It's pretty easy to decide if there's a lockdown or not when there's 10 people in your town. It's not that hard. Anyway, so my week is, today, I guess I baked a cake and I was drinking whiskey while I was baking that cake.
Wow, dude.
Mind you,
Wow.
I haven't baked a cake in about 10 years. So I was kind of excited about it. I had to buy self-raising flour, sugar. Like, these are things that I have not had to buy. Vanilla essence? What the hell? It was $4 for a little bit of vanilla essence. I couldn't believe it. That's like two.
Listen, dude. Dude, we spent the first whole part of this podcast establishing that I was the one that was a bit of a loser, a bit of a boring bloody, person that was focused on retirement. Here you are talking about the price of vanilla essence and self-raising flour, dude. Come on.
This is a guide, man. And if I'm guiding anyone to anything, it's do not buy vanilla essence for $4 a fucking pop. That's ridiculous.
So you've been cooking cakes and drinking whiskey.
Yeah, actually, when you say it like that, I don't mind it. That's not a bad way of life. Get used to that.
All right. So, Dos, we've got a bit of an idea of what we've been up to the last week. Both gripping stories, truly momentous occasions. But the main premise of the road guide's a bit different to just us, going on about stuff that's happened in our own lives.
Wait, what? Is that?
I mean, actually, now come to think of it, that's pretty much the entire premise.
Basically, well, to be fair, man, it's just us listening to it, and the odd person we peer pressure into it.
Yeah. Mum, if you're listening, actually stop listening, please.
Yeah.
I love that you listen to everything I do, but this isn't it.
Mum and Dad, this is where you cut off. This is where you go your separate way.
But what's the road guide,
Well,
Dos?
today, episode 1, we're going to be hitting up the party guide. I think that's the main thing. In your 20s, you're renowned for partying. And so we want to really try to point you in the right direction with how you party. Obviously, we've all been to bad parties, and we've been to good parties. I guess the worst...
Almost deaf.
Yeah, the worst party I've been to was my friend's 21st. Big Ben. So this guy's like nearly...
Big Ben.
Yeah, this guy's like nearly 7 foot. So can't hide from the crowd. And mind you, it was a really classy party, right? So it was at a pub in the function room, really nice, and a lot of family there, a few friends, everybody dressed up, cocktail attire. So you're in, good apparel.
A few red flags already, if I'm honest with you, but keep carrying on.
Yeah. So, and we get there and having a good time, bar tabs open, we're just getting into it. And then it hits speeches.
But what do you mean bar tabs open? Free drinks?
Free drinks, 21st.
Okay.
Just on that. If you have a 21st and don't have free drinks, then I'm off you already. But so, and I wasn't even planning on launching into this night. I was just having a couple enjoying the show. And but it hit the speeches pretty early in the night too, mind you. It was probably like 9 o'clock. Speeches came out.
From my experience, that's a pretty responsible time to start the speeches before people are too smashed.
It was a responsible party. That's the thing. And so like there was the mum, grandma, dad, little brother, older brother, all had beautiful speeches. Just so pure. I was like, wow, man, this guy is a top bloke. There's a reason why I'm here, because I like it. And
he is a good bloke. I can vouch for it, dude. Ben Jones, absolute ripper of a bloke.
We love it.
I mean, Big Ben. Sorry, Big Ben.
It's pronounced Big Ben. And then his mates jump up, right, to his best friends to do the speech, their particular speeches. And so the crowd percentage, right, is basically, I'm going to go 70% family, 30% friends, which that's a fair split. And but I don't think anyone told his best mates this. So their stories were very much set on just mates kind of banter. They are just, they are explaining these stories about Ben that were just vivid. Like you would, man, these guys are great storytellers. Like, man, I was there, I was in the moment. I was like, yeah, all right. Ben's fucking this girl in a car. Like, yeah, okay, this is happening.
Yeah, but so was Auntie and Uncle Ben, and so was Grandpa Ben.
So was Grandma Jones. So was Grandpa Jones.
Oh no, dude.
And Mama Jones walked out of the room. Just left.
No.
And me and my co are just pissing ourselves, but we're also not like openly laughing because we can't. Because
you've read the room. You've read the room.
We've read the room. We're the only people that seem to have read the room and realised this is not the direction we should be going with these things. And, so everybody, the dirty stares, everything. It was so intense. And then, Ben's just awkwardly laughing his way through it. And honestly, I've never been more relieved to hear the end of speeches. Not because, they were great stories. They were hilarious. And, the point of a 21st is to kind of bring them back a peg. But, man, it sent Ben back a long way, I reckon.
So, did that affect the mood of the night? Or were you able to have a good time? Or did that absolutely just sour the occasion?
Well, to be honest, the tab lasted another hour. So... kind of smashed that, and then as soon as it clocked off, I was like, all right, we're going out. I'm getting away from here before I get dragged in with the parents. It was pretty intense. I was a little bit fearful, not for me, more for Ben, because he's a good guy. this is a good guy hearing
I know,
probably
Ben.
his 2 bad stories in his life, and then his entire family gets to hear it. Like, oof, it was pretty heavy.
Dos, this is really interesting you mentioned that controversial 21st stories because actually at the best party that I've been to,
Oh no,
I was actually one of those lucky few to be able to tell a story.
that's not a lucky few. You're
and,
the perpetrator.
This is why I'm a little bit confused because I felt like you threw an amazing 21st party. I'm pretty sure it was a themed party where people dressed up as different superheroes or something like that.
It was H themed, and you didn't really get involved in it, if I'm being honest.
Wait, H, I came as a Ninja Turtle, didn't I?
You weak ass Big W Ninja Turtle costume.
What? I'm not sure where H comes into that. Maybe it was hero in a half shell. That's actually pretty good. Hero in a half shell. There's 2 H's in that. Anyway, I'm not gonna hear you slander my costume because it was pretty sick actually. But anyway. But it's interesting you mentioned that this particular 21st was ruined by some out of taste 21st stories because you're right. The point is to take them down a peg. And I do remember in your case, the speeches were made much later in the night, especially for a gentleman like me who was a much lower, tolerance towards alcohol.
Class citizen.
I was,
yep, sorry.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I had a little bit of a social reputation to maintain, but I was pretty smashed. And come the time to make a speech about Dossel for his 21st, I made a highly controversial speech. I don't want to go back into it here because
my crowd is 50% family, 50% friends.
Yeah,
it's a clean
so
split.
this is different to a 70-30 in a big way, dude. In a big way.
Still not enough of a way.
I still remember I was definitely looking at a lot of your family members when telling this story. I soon learnt that for the sake of the flow of the story, I should look at my mates and your mates and pitch the story to them because they were loving it. They loved it.
Don't make eye contact with the family.
There's nothing like a bit of degeneracy to get the friends, really on your side. So that's what I really leaned into. But aside from that, it was the parties that you've thrown. And I don't want to blow smoke anywhere in particular, but the parties that you've thrown at your place in Coram, which is the beautiful Noosa hinterland, an absolutely stunning part of the sunny coast of the great state, some might say the greatest state of Queensland, have been some of the best parties I've been to. And that party was absolutely fantastic because I met a whole bunch of people from Victoria, where you were living, who came up to Queensland, especially for your 21st, which instantly won them points in my book. So I was like, anyone that would travel interstate, across states, to celebrate a mate's birthday, I instantly was like, well, this is probably someone that's a good quality friend and someone that's worth, hanging out and getting to know and worth my time per se. All the games were there, all that kind of stuff. It was definitely one of the best parties I've been to. I will admit, Judy, if you're still listening, I definitely am not proud of the story that I told, but
that's
it does.
my mum too, by the way.
Sorry, Judy. Yeah. It did make for a great story. It just didn't make for a great memory because I definitely don't think it hit the mark, definitely with the boys, but definitely not with the family. But that was an example for me of a great party. Friends were there. Everyone was playing games. Everyone was there just to have a good time. Friends or family, whatever. It was brilliant.
I don't know if I told you this, but I got a talking to after that party. The next day.
Oh, really?
My parents sat me down and they were like, Hayden, we think you have a drinking problem.
Oh, no, dude. What? Really?
I'm not kidding here. Oh, man, that was pretty heavy. It was a heavy
I gotta
chat.
say though, if the only problem they confronted you on was drinking, then actually I think you came out pretty good.
Yeah, I was like, hey, mum and dad, come to Ben Jones's next 21st. You'll love me.
All right,
but,
so
on the side of a best party though, I think the best party I've ever been to was admittedly it was your party once you moved to Toowoomba, but at the same time I don't think you did much to get the party going.
Oh, bro.
It was like, I know you didn't want to put a fluff piece for me, so I'm going to make sure I'm not fluffing you here. But,
man, I deserve all the credit for this. I was instrumental in this party.
You weren't even there. So all right, it was your party, right? And then one of your housemates, Getty, our boy, Me and one of the other blokes that drove 3 hours just to come to this party, jumped in a car with him, and we ended up going to Big W, and then we found black lights, and we're like, oh my God, let's replace every light bulb in the house with black lights.
Wow.
And we did
Stunning.
that. And so it was that day that we came up with the theme with everybody hitting up white, and we colored everybody in. We had glow sticks, and I'm pretty sure we put the bill for that as well.
Oh my God.
that was one of the most amazing parties I've ever been to, I reckon. That was pretty incredible.
See, I don't remember that party the same way. I honestly do remember it as being an iconic party. Essentially, we just watched Project X, which was an iconic party movie that just was basically these losers, I think, that threw an absolute rager. And we might have fit the bill to some degree. We were just like, all right, we've got this house just with 6 dudes living in it at once. Let's just invite everyone we know. We've got friends coming from the coast, which was you and the boys. Clearly, you and Getty and some of the other boys went out and put a little bit more effort and thought into it than me. I might have been chilling in my room, drinking Coke in Malibu, watching Batman or Forrest Gump, which probably was definitely the case. But when the party came around, contrary to your opinion about a great party, I would say it was a memorable party, but I'd say for me, memorable in a lot of the worst ways. We were insanely loud. We did have an awesome crowd of people, but the house was essentially destroyed. People, I remember there was like 10 people lined up on the gutter, throwing their glass bottle empties at our windows, at our walls, at our door. It was a huge party, out of control. Police came, and as much as it was, like I said, it was iconic, but it was, for me, even at the time, I was just stressed out like crazy because I was like, oh my God, this is out of control. I've got half of the people here I know, and there was like, maybe 40 to 60 people. So 30 people I know, 30 people that are complete strangers, and 10 of them are on the curb throwing glass bottles at the house and at our cars. I've got to say, and it might lead into some of my tips for parties, but having a party at your place always adds an extra level of anxiety to it, I would say.
A bit of drama. Well, I guess if you were throwing a party, what would be your step one?
All right, it's pretty straightforward. I feel like every good party starts with an occasion. It starts with something pure, something good, something that's worth celebrating. I feel like if you throw a party just for any other reason, or you have people gathering for any other reason, it's a little bit, things get misconstrued, but if you can just throw a party, hey, it's a birthday party, I've got friends, come on over, let's make it happen. I like to get as, wild as possible. I'm not super wild, but within reason. Get all your friends over, have a good time. That's pretty much for me is the main point to what makes a good party. So step one, in my opinion, in this rogue guide to having a good party is to have an occasion. Now, Halloween parties, they can be pretty risky because you spend the whole time pretty much, anxious about, if I dress up super hard, will everyone just come in a boring old t-shirt and jeans and will I look like an absolute loser? I'm not sure about costume parties or theme parties. I think that if it's a simple rock up, bring your drinks, bring your best attitude, bring your music selection, whatever, let's have a good time. That's the go. I will also say highly underrated parties, and you only get them once a year, is the New Year's Eve party. And that's because there's nothing like a good New Year's kiss to kick off the next year. I've got to say. I'm an old man, but I've got to say, there's nothing quite like it, quite simply.
Well, mate, the best part, I'm going to go with step 2 here, and I'm going to say a party needs an edge, and by an edge, you need a theme. You need something that's going to bring people together. It's going to bring people out of their comfort zones, because yes, you're like, man, I wonder if everybody's going to dress up, and even if they don't, you're going to look the best there out of everybody. If you embrace the theme, you're the number one man out of the whole freaking party. And from my experience, it's a great conversation starter, and most people are socially awkward. And I'm actually go as far to say that 90% of people are socially awkward from what I have seen. There is not that many clean speakers out there. And I'm not claiming to be one of them. I'm going to be one of those guys.
9 out of 10 people that you meet can't function socially.
Yep, I'll go that far. I reckon. And I'll tell you what, you will function socially better if you're in a costume. I don't know what it is, but if you're dressed up as
Really?
Top Gun, yeah, if you're Mel Gibson, Braveheart, you're confident, strong. Mostly because people won't recognize you in public, I think, so it might play a part. But I'm going to throw this out here. Some absolute free advice here. I've just recently thought about this. To throw a Harry Potter themed party or a different movie type genre, but have it so everybody you invite has to come as a specific character. So there can only be one Harry Potter. There can only be one Ron Weasley. So I think that's a great idea. People have to get creative with it. Yeah, it might mean that you can only invite one redhead to be Ron, but like, come on. Do you really want to have two redheaded friends?
Oh, bro.
But I think that's a great idea. And to be honest, I think I'm going to do it for my next party.
Yeah, all right. You're a big fan of the themed parties. In fact, your whole family is a fan of the themed parties. I think your little brother Darcy also threw a themed party and has probably thrown a number of them. In fact, I think his most recent one was also a themed party. Me, on the other hand, I haven't thrown a single one. I honestly find that a theme, I don't know. I just know how I feel going to a Halloween party or a themed party. And you may be critical of my heroes in a half shell costume, which has two H's in it, so I would say it was twice as good a costume.
You were worst dressed at my 21st.
Oh, bro.
100% were. Even a bloke rocked up with a horse on top of his head. Just a horse. A horse
Hang
face?
on, was that Shonkers?
Yeah,
was that a Shonkers?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
He still looks better. Because horse, beautiful.
Yeah. No, I gotta say, I don't know, an edge or a theme. I like to get people out of their comfort zones argument, but I think there's better ways to get people out of their comfort zones, which brings me to step 3. All right. So if we're going to carry on with this along this thread of absurdity with
hey, you're carrying on, not me.
I honestly reckon that the best way to get people out of their comfort zones, and this has been my experience in all facets of life, is to get people moving, to get the blood pumping, to get people not thinking so much about conversation and to let the conversation come a little bit more naturally. And the best way for that to happen at any party is a drinking game. I'm a huge fan for drinking games. If someone even promotes that there will be drinking games at their party, I'm 80% more likely to rock up. Although I'm a bit of a hermit, so I don't really rock up to too many parties anymore. I definitely am more inclined, or at least I'll feel like I'm missing out if I heard that there were drinking games. And with drinking games, there's the hierarchy of drinking games. And quite frankly, at the very, very top, and I don't think this can be up for dispute, Das, is beer pong. And then we'll go King's Cup and then flip or slap cup. I truly believe that's the hierarchy of drinking games at a party that aren't just purely set up to make you absolutely ruined.
Yeah, there definitely does need to be a beer pong table. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I guess the thing about it is that it gives you something to do while you're getting to know people. And it also gives you a little bit of a chance to express yourself a little bit. You can roast people a little bit, get them, flame them a little, compliment them a little if they're a little bit more of a quiet type.
Yeah. And set
say
yourself
nice shots or whatever.
Set yourself up to be the alpha of the party as well.
Oh yeah, be the one that nails the redemption shot that wins the game.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. People will remember it the entire night, and people will want to be on your team because you'll have the rep of the beer pong king or queen, whatever it may be. I honestly think that there is no better icebreaker and no better way to get a party going. Because people, think about it, you rock up to a party, you look for your friends, you chat with your friends, blah, blah, blah. But if you can be matched up against 2 random people, instantly, there's a chance to make 2 new friends, even if you are making them absolutely scull their beers. And if there's one thing that we know, and without promoting alcohol or anything like that, drink responsibly and all that, I'm pretty sure would be the way to claim that. But is to get people more drunk. They definitely are a little bit more lively and more into starting conversations with complete strangers if they've had a little bit more to drink.
Yeah, well, I reckon once you've kind of got them, a little bit drunker, I guess that brings me straight towards step 4. Because for me, step 4 of a good party is a bad fucking decision. I reckon you need bad decisions to make a party a good party, to make it a memorable party. Like, there's the simple ones where you can have, you can have a shit DJ, To be fair, I've thrown this on a bad decision, as a tack bomb, but I don't think that's a bad decision for a lot of people. I think a lot of people need to experience a tack bomb, and I think one of them is on this podcast right now. Just to clarify, that's not me. Mate, you're the king of the tack bomb.
Oh, bro. The tack bomb, I've got to say, is an absolute game changer. There's been times when it's not just socially, it's the right move to make so that you can square yourself up a little and maybe get yourself back on the level of 99% of the rest of the party, especially if you've gone a bit too carried away. But there's been times when it's competitively the way to go. As I mentioned in step 3 with drinking games, there's going to be times when you'll be in Bolivia maybe, and I don't know, forget, he was a British bartender, I think he was, who was starting off a shot drinking competition. And essentially it was shot for your country. So all the Australians got together and started taking shots. Germans.
It was just me.
All the Spaniards. Yeah, I say all the
Australians.
Yeah. And there was 6 Germans, maybe 4 British people. And it was a competition to see who would order the most Sambuca shots as well. So on top of that, Sambuca shots, which is an extra level of pain because of the flavour, if I'm honest with you. And there was a special power for me was that I said to Dos, I was pretty smashed that night, but I can specifically remember telling him, I'm like, hey mate, I'm going to try and keep up. And when the time comes, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to disappear for maybe a shot, maybe 2 shots. And I'm going to attack bomb. I'm going to come back with a vengeance. We were outnumbered, outmanned in a foreign country. And I tell you what, I snuck off, maybe bombed a sink or 2 in the Wild Rover hostel in Bolivia, returned to the table, ordered Sambuca shots, and we absolutely torched all the other countries and represented Australia. I've got to say, it's probably one of the most, competitively speaking, one of the highlights of my entire competitive career. And I've had plenty of wins under my belt.
It'd be up there. But at the same time, I think there's a few losses with that kind of tactic as well. Because yes, we're the kings of Wild Rover in Bolivia, in La Paz, but we're also banned from a couple of hostels in Chile and Argentina. Similar kind of antics from you.
Dos, we're talking about throwing parties. I don't want to hear.
Yeah, you're lucky. We'll hit that one up later on. But at the same time, I guess on that vein, I would say incorporating into the bad decisions, you need to invite one toxic person to a party.
I don't get it, bro.
You need one person that you know is not a good person to be around. Because in one way or another, they're going to create drama. They're going to create a story. It's going to be a laugh in a couple of years' time. But at the moment, it might be pretty intense. But because the worst stories are the best stories in a couple of years. Not straight away, definitely not. But yeah, definitely later on, they really kind of bring it in.
Well, this brings me to my final step, quite frankly. And you might have noticed that so far my suggestions have been fairly wholesome. It's been about essentially having a good theme, which would be a good birthday, something like that, something simple. Maybe someone's going away, something where you can get people out of their comfort zone through drinking games. But essentially, my main point is having friends and friends of friends at the same party. So step 5, it's about bringing people together, and it's about having your friends and the people that your friends consider friends all together, because that way you'll meet new people, and that way you'll be basically encountering folks that have got the seal of approval. Because let's face it, we all know through social media and through general life experience, there's a fair few really awful people out there. So they're generally the people that you don't want to have when you're having a particularly good time or trying to celebrate something. So for me, it's about bringing everyone together, whether it be people you know, people you don't, people that essentially are being vouched for by friends, even by family, and having them all at the same party. And basically just, whether you're going easy or going hard, I've got to say I've got very little capacity to not take it a little bit too far and get a little bit too drunk. But if you're surrounded by the right people, nothing can really go wrong.
Well, you want to be surrounded by your friends. I agree with that. But you know how easy it is to make friends when you're at a party, especially when you don't know many people, is if you're the second drunkest person at the party. So you don't,
Yes.
you don't want to be the drunkest. No one wants
No.
that because that's what people talk about the next day. But if you're second drunkest, you can get away with some fucking crazy shit. you can nearly do whatever you want. If someone's passing out on the couch, you can body slam the beer pong table if you want. You have fair game, and that means that you're going to be the most important person from that party. Everyone's going to remember you. You're going to be a big bloody deal. This is your opportunity, and I think you should note that. Step 5 should be take the opportunity. Be the second drunkest at a party.
You know what? I'm going to give a special shout out because being the second drunkest has actually been something game changing for me.
Oh, really?
And it's brought really good people into my life. So I'm going to shout out real quick. Uncle Kezi K, he was always the drunkest at the party, but only to be challenged by one other than Big Seth. Seth or Kez, no matter what party we invited them to.
Even I remember Seth. From that,
they would bring that energy, and the best part is that you'd be able to sort of pursue them and be like, all right, so this person's absolutely setting the tone for how drunk you can be. They'd also be generating a whole bunch of excitement and stories, but on the other hand, you'd be able to sort of lie in their wake, possibly getting close to their level, and like you said, making the stories and having a good time. And not being known as the person that was absolutely off their chop. So people like that, I'm going to say they're absolute assets to the party.
Yeah. What do chicks fantasize about? They fantasize about princes. No one cares about the king. No one cares about the drunkards. People care about second place. I'm telling you.
A little bit of relationship advice thrown in there, Dust. You save that kind of wisdom for the relationships episode, dude.
Oh, make it deep.
All right, so there you go. I think there's your road guide for for what I would consider. I mean, aside from Doss's advice, if you just take my advice, to be a really, really good party.
Yeah, I guess there's parties for virgins, and if you want to follow that route, Floss is offered the perfect blueprints. But if you want to have a real memorable party you think about in 20 years' time, then follow my kind of steps, I reckon.
All right, so that's the road guide for today, but there's a lot more, like we said, to having a good party, and that's having good friends. And that brings us to the next segment of the podcast, which is the mystery guest. At this point of the podcast, we'll be inviting someone random on. Random, I mean someone we know. Possibly, Hugh Jackman at some stage. I think he'll get on.
Yeah.
I think Obama will get on the pod at some stage.
Yeah, actually, Obama gave me a scene, and that was it. So I'm just assuming he's experienced a few technical difficulties, and he'll get back to me.
What? Really?
Yeah. I shouldn't. Maybe it was Michelle.
Man. Okay. All right. Well, we're on. We're on. We're definitely sorted in that sense. But today, we've got someone well and truly in that upper echelon of society. We're joined by none other than Mr. Connor Curley, who we've got some great stories with about how we became friends. And he's got something to contribute to the pod. And that is a little bit of a scenario that he experienced when he was in his 20s, like you may be. You might be in your 30s, like we will eventually be very soon.
Or where Curly is right now.
We shouldn't laugh. Doss, calm down. But introducing none other than Mr. Connor Curley.
Hello, gentlemen.
I had to drag him from his room to come assist on our podcast, as he is my roommate.
VIP experience here. There's a framed photograph of Taylor Swift over his bed.
We literally had a disclaimer not to bring that up.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Cred.
Yeah, what we include in the podcast studio is not for public consumption, dude. So try to keep that to yourself. That's embargoed. Doss, you've got
big girl's mag beside his bed.
you've got an extra special relationship with Curly. Tell us what's going on and a little bit how
Sounds
we
erotic.
Well, so me and you, Dan, met Curly in Peru.
And barely look at me in the eye. Now I'm worried about his view from his bedroom to mine.
Jesus, I told you I could see into your room.
Better start putting on the show.
You have been, don't worry. So anyway, so the first day we met Curly, man, I was too hungover to give a shit about another Irish guy on our tour.
And now he's blushing.
And now I'm red as. Because it was only because within 2 hours of you meeting us, you popped your shoulder out and was in a near ambulance if someone else wasn't already put in that ambulance.
I'll jump in here. We motorbiked, not motorbiked, we mountain biked down a mountain, as you do with a mountain bike. And a poor gentleman from Israel fell and broke his hip and took the one ambulance that was with the group.
Wait, what? I don't remember that at all. Who?
Yeah, that's why I wasn't taken to hospital.
I remember you sliding.
Dislocated my shoulder
What?
in the middle of the wilderness with 3 days to go, and there was an ambulance with us. Did you not think it would have took me away?
Oh my!
I kind of hope they
goodness.
did.
Yeah, that would have been for the best, but we got stuck with you actually because of that.
Well, these gentlemen, they took me under my wing. Felt guilty. I raced two of them down the mountain. I crashed.
Yeah.
And as good Australian ambassadors, they split my pack and carried it for me. 4 years later, I'm living one of them. And I'm talking to another one. And ever since, I've been trying to get rid of them.
This is the risk that you take when you take in Irish backpackers. Is that
It's the risk
if you show
you
them
take
the
when you engage with
smallest
Aussies.
bit,
Oh, yeah.
if you show them
They
the
don't leave you
slightest
alone.
bit of compassion, they will move into your house continents away. And Doss is, telling me no small amount of
noticed.
stories
I
about
moved in
having
first
to
and
just
came in after. Stray dog
But
syndrome.
I guess on that, I'm very excited to hear a real scenario that you've been involved in where you were hit with a proper dilemma.
Excellent. Well, as the first inaugural international guest, I have an international story for you fine gentlemen. And it starts like many fairy tales do in New York. I flew over to meet some friends. It's about the equivalent of Sydney to Perth. 5.5 hours from Dublin to New York.
wow.
I had
That's
a great
ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous.
fraction of the cost.
Oh, don't.
Marooned on your continent island.
Oh, don't.
So I flew over, had a great time. And this tale is not about that weekend. It's about a Tuesday night. I met up with an
A
American. I used to work
Tuesday
with.
night.
A Tuesday night.
That sounds dangerous already, dude.
It always is. That's exactly it. Like, no good stories. Like, oh, Friday night.
No.
It's like, yeah, you expect madness.
Yeah.
Dilemmas happen when it's not expected. So, couple of drinks, yada yada yada, bit of a pub crawl. 2:30 in the morning on a Tuesday. My American friend bids me adieu. Says, great to meet you. And I hope I don't see you for another couple of years. Beers were had, good times were made. And we were at this bar called The Fiddler. It's in Manhattan.
The
This
Fiddler.
wonderful bar. A little bit of an Irish team, but it was hopping on a Tuesday night. Full of everyone from everywhere. Sitting at a bar, strike up a conversation with a couple of Colombians, shot
Okay.
tequila, couple of beers. The gentlemen say, let's go back to a house party. This is your dilemma. This is a casual event in your 20s. You're away, you're on holiday. You don't know anyone and you've no safety net. So I go back, hop in a taxi, 30 minutes, brings me to Northern Queens. I don't really know where Queens is in relation where my hostel is. I have my passport in my pocket. I've all my cards. I'm like, this might go south. I walk in. It's not a house. It's a cafe with the blinds down. And I open up. There's a bouncer.
What?
About 30 or 40 Colombians in there. And the guy's like, ¿Hablas español? I'm like, sí, señor. I don't.
Si, senor. That is the wrong answer.
I do not. He looks at me, looks at the other guy and says, are you vouching for him? I'm like, yeah, come on. I walk in. You walk by a bouncer with a gun at his side. What do you do?
What?
This is a situation.
What do we do?
At 2:30 on a Tuesday night on your own. Drunk as drunk can be.
Holy.
And you don't speak Spanish?
Oh, mate, this story is
What do you do?
built for me. This is built for me. This is my element. This is like, especially because I presume you're a few beers in.
Oh, several.
Several. So that
Several's
usually
being
means
modest.
that my Spanish is fluent.
No.
By this stage.
To the listeners, he's wearing an Enrique Iglesias beanie at the moment.
Spanish actually increases in fluency with drinks consumed. So maybe he is fluent at this stage.
So like I think of a chance.
The
in
word to
this scenario.
desperado is not a fluency.
So I did, I guess. No, I think you take the dip. Like, obviously, so this is America. And yeah, they're speaking Spanish. But,
Unarmed.
and armed, yeah. Well,
The police force in Ireland do not carry guns.
yeah. True. Yeah, well, I think you gotta, like, you're in a foreign country, you gotta immerse yourself in the foreign culture. And yeah, it's America, it's guns.
There's a few hotties there.
Oh, mate, you already had me. Alright, I'm walking in on a Tuesday night, and I'm ready to have a good night. Guns blazing, baby.
And then what? What, you got to go in there and you got to talk with these people? Can they speak English or is it all Spanish?
Well,
Samba's blaring in the speakers. Everyone's speaking Spanish. You're very obviously just an extra guest. It's 2:30. You had a great weekend. Do you call it? Or do you keep going?
Tuesday's the make or break day. It's like, if you get through a Tuesday, it becomes the weekend again. Wednesday is close enough to the next weekend to roll into it.
In a foreign country.
Especially in a foreign country, because you're traveling. Yeah, but Pross, what would you do? What would be the boring outback Queensland response?
Weak way to set up my response, dude. Weak way to set up my response.
This is situation number one. It escalates.
I've got to say, and I would be a little bit shocked as well if Curly didn't take the same risk. Walking into a location, an unknown location with Spanish-speaking folks, completely, basically out of your depth. In Queens, I don't know what Queens means, quite frankly. I know it's a place in New York. That's about it. Look, I've got to say, if I was appropriately festive enough, I dare say I would walk in as well. That being said, were you working the next day, Curly?
I had a flight to catch at 2 p.m.
That's fine. It's 2 p.m.
2 p.m. 2 p.m.
Sleep on the plane.
Yeah, I don't know. At that stage, it's 2 a.m. I mean, I'll be feeling really tired. What you got there at 2 a.m., Curly?
Queenslanders are meant to be adventurous.
No, Queenslanders wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah. They're good in bed by 8.
Yeah, we got the early start of the day. Look, I would honestly say that I might have taken the risk. I would have taken the risk. That being said, the prospect of rocking up into a completely foreign situation that late at night, taking a half-hour cab. Nah, stop it. I'm going in. Yeah. I'm going in.
You're committed by the cab.
I'm not. Stop it. Stop the plane.
Otherwise, you got to pay for the whole cab fare home.
Dude. It's been a half an hour.
That's the kicker.
That's like $80. I'm going for it. I'm shooting my shot. Hopefully, I
You
find a place
survive
to stay that night.
Till 6 a.m. Surcharge drops, and you can afford to go home.
Yeah, no, I'm all in, dude. I'm all in, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. Hopefully I'm drunk enough to be able to dance. If not, I'm gonna stand awkwardly and just say "que como," and that's about it. Despacito. That's all
No
I've got,
hablo
dude.
español.
Charlie, thanks for coming on, brother.
Always a pleasure. Gentlemen,
Kelly.
see it.
There we go. Our mystery guest,
Perfect.
Connor Curly, from Ireland, but essentially from Peru and Bolivia. We bumped into him so many times without even planning as we traveled through South America. A different story for a different time. But that's that. And actually, I got to say, we've been going on for a fair while now. We maybe thought we'd get through 20 minutes or 30 minutes of banter, but things have definitely carried on out of control. But I think that'll do us for now, for sure.
No. I kind of really, you want to talk a little bit more about my love life? And
All right. Actually, you know what? You can catch the next episode of The Road Guide wherever you get your podcast every single week.
Or hit us up in these DMs, baby.
I think what DOS means is if you're a fellow young person like myself, like DOS, and you've got a problem, and you can do with a second opinion, let us know, and we're going to sort you out next time.
We got you covered.